Hello, very good greetings from my side. My name is Dr. Krishna Bhandari. I am a postdoc at Helsinki University of Technology, and I also teach at multiple colleges around the world. This course has been designed to cater to the needs of the various students at the bachelor level, and then also at early MBA level studies. And And these are the experiences that I have collected with the students and then also with interactions with the managers as a long career at Nokia and then also outside Nokia as entrepreneur and then later as an academician. I will be discussing the outline of this course today in this lecture. So let's get to the slides and then discuss this further. All right. So here you have the outline of the course. Let me put this somewhere where you can see me. Sometimes you can't see me due to blurred images. Perhaps it will be good to have you here somewhere there in this corner so you can see me well. Hopefully it doesn't disturb my slides later. I'll try that one. So this is the topic, strategic management and illustration with Nokia case. So why I have used Nokia is very important to understand before we get into the outline of the course. Nokia has been very successful in the history and it has seen success and failure at the same level of extreme uh, case. Like for example, in multiple scenarios. It started as a rubber boot company and then later it turned into telecommunication giant, and then I still into telecom and also internet business, software business, but it has a long, glorious history, and then how it survived all the challenges it has gone through. And with strategic management, this is very challenging thing to do inside a large multinational company, also in small and medium enterprises, and then also in startups nowadays. Everybody needs to have a strategy. Of course, you need a culture to nurture and manage that also. But in this case, we will be going through the outline in this chapter, and then in the following chapters, what we are going to study here. Okay. So now, for example, how many of you actually understand this concept called giving pledge? Perhaps not many. Think about this idea. More than 200 philanthropists have now joined the giving pledge, committing to give at least half their wealth to charitable causes. This is very interesting. For me, it was mind-blowing concept when I heard first time about it. International Philanthropy Group reaches 2000 for when I actually checked it when I was making these slides, but perhaps you can check your Wikipedia on this Giving Place Wikipedia site to get the latest numbers. And signatories is from 23 countries. Okay. Okay, so perhaps this is also disturbing here, so we need to keep it somewhere back here also. Let's put it here, so it comes there. So why billionaires are giving their money back to the society? This is a very interesting question. And if you want to read more about this, started by Bill Gates, you can think about how wise he is and how he is actually raising money for philanthropic works for not only for him, but for everybody around the world. The website is www.givingplace.org. There is a reason why I started with this data. There is a huge management philosophy or even philosophy of life if you want to actually relate to that reality. Let's see why I started with the data and reasoning and a case is I'll illustrate that later. But now I'm trying to think about the teaching philosophy also here. I'm not giving you a fish. Like for example, analyzing a case and giving answer to that case. That would be a fish. But however, if I give you the reasoning technique, if I give you the thinking procedure, process, then it will be a fishing technique so that you can catch the fish all the time. So this is what the whole process is designed to catch to that. I'm not making quizzes, I'm not making assignments in this process, but what I'm doing is I give you assignments, but what I'm giving you is the responsibility on your own teaching, that you will reflect the questions, the assignments that I have given in the videos. And I'm not going to make these interruptions after videos, all those interruptions for test or anything else, just to test your memory or your quick understanding. The greater idea is to go deeper into the concepts and really understand the concept and apply those concepts into your daily business or even in your teaching or even in your studies and then passing with very good grades. But balancing of those both is needed. Sometimes I need to provide answers also, but not always. But better focus is on the other side, the later side of the equation. Okay. This is my timeline. So I'm originally from Nepal and now I live in Helsinki, Finland. And I have been doing this for a long time. So I understand technology, being a basic degree in engineering, and then I did the MBA. And then I went for Nokia for almost more than a half a decade, and then later half a decade with the startups, and then later as an academician as a PhD in Finland. And now I am in multiple colleges and also in Helsinki University. So this is just my timeline, like how I reached to what I reached so far, given the circumstances I had. Now you have to think your own timeline because you're just starting a career, you're still a student. You have to think your perhaps 5-year plan or perhaps 10 years plan and think how you would like to reach there. Later in the assignments, I will be discussing how I can help you on that. So it's not only passing exam or doing good in your grades, but it's also understanding a career, need in the society, need in the market, need in the multinationals or small companies and SMEs everywhere. Okay. Please send one slide in course forum to introduce yourself in that format, one slide, as I did here just now. Just use this kind of bar chart with timeline and forecast the future where you want to be in a couple of years. This is my old data, but now I haven't extrapolated the future, and you can do that also. Basically, we're going to start the basic exercise, how to think about future, because strategy is always about the future. So you start with the strategy. Now I'm getting back to the data I showed you about Bill Gates giving pledge idea. Okay. So he made fortune out of becoming successful through Microsoft. So he built his $1 billion business, his $1 billion worth, self-worth through Microsoft. But the question is, why companies fail or succeed for that matter? And the underlying question is, why a firm exists? Yes, when he became billionaire, he is giving back. He is asking everybody through the giving place to give back, right? So he's actually solving the biggest problem in the society through Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. But if he has not understood this idea, the idea of why companies fail or succeed, he would not have reached to this level today. So the fundamental question, how Microsoft might become Microsoft, how Nokia became Nokia, how Apple became Apple, or any large good companies, like successful companies with good ethics and all corporate governance become so good in the world, is the biggest question in management. For many, there are various studies on how companies can become successful, but nobody has looked this equation from why they fail. If you understand the failure reason, you avoid those actually to become also successful. So we will be digging through Nokia, through Microsoft also, through Apple also. In general, the telecommunications and mobile industry, that is blurred now with the mobile business because mobile software is actually everywhere and mobile applications are everywhere. So that will be very complex industry to analyze and then understand the nitty-gritty details of how the companies actually become successful, or like how they avoid failure so that they can be successful. So this is a borrowed slide from Jim Collins. So sorry for that. I didn't draw it myself, but this is a borrowed slide. I give good recognition to Jim Collins. He's a great author. But he said, but I have modified these ideas on the top, like on the red, are my ideas, like based on the literature and based on my understanding also. In the book called Why the Mighty Fail, he has actually plotted the 5 stages how companies actually go from hubris born of success, and then they go into second stage of undisciplined pursuit for more, and then they go for denial of risk and peril. That is the big point. And then they grasping for salvation after that, and then they go into the capitulation to irrelevance or death. But this is his narrative. This is very correct. But existing academic literature, this is very good idea to sell a book. Also, like he has done millions of copies on this. But I have read the book about myself also. It's a very good, well-written book. But if you get back to that root analysis and on robust analysis in academic literature, this is actually boils down to Jim March. He's also Jim, but it's a March, Jim March 1991, where he talked about exploration and exploitation. Exploration meaning how you can experiment, innovate, and think for the future. And exploitation means how you can actually exploit the existing knowledge, technology, competence for the better profit. So in short term, you are on exploitation focus, but in the long run, you are actually not in exploitation focus, but you are on a more on exploration focus, because sooner or later, the technology changes, the market failure happens, or anything happens in the industry or in the society, like it is happening now around the world due to various other reasons than the technology. Financial crisis, for example. At that point, we get into the competence trap if we are on to exploitation focus, that is reaping the profits only by utilizing the GSM technology, for example, for Nokia. So when Nokia was going through the development process of technology, Nokia had a leadership position in GSM phones, almost 40 plus market share. In some categories, it was even bragging about 70% market share. So imagine you are sitting on a board and stupid people like me who do the analysis of the future with 3G technology and 3G business model, and then you send it for the board's discussions and decision point. Majority of the board members outright reject the idea. You want to kill the billion-dollar business that we have actually created and cannibalize that into something that is actually not in the near future. 3G takes maybe a couple of years, even 5-10 years to realize at that time when we were actually discussing this idea. You can reason with this. So you are on a competence trap because you have GSM competence, but no 3G competence. You are an exploitation trap because you are only exploiting the GSM for the benefit, for the profit and market growth and all efficiency drive. You are on a success trap because you are so successful, you don't think that future will be anything challenging that we cannot handle, or even call arrogancy. With the success, every company or even humans actually get some level of arrogance. So those are the points that drove this path. And Nokia mobile phones had to be sold out. And then also, now Nokia is reinventing. Of course, there will be a case later on, turnaround. But this is how everything started. So I give great recognition for both Jims, Jim Collins, and also Jim March for his insights, right? So let's take that point. So Bill Gates understood this from the very early beginning. Now, from his ideas of small DOS operating system to now Windows, and then later all the applications in the Windows, and then later now moving into the cloud, because they are actually transitioning the company very well from one stage to another stage, and they understand why these red ideas are very dangerous, and they are actually thinking for the long term. And another great book is also Geoffery Moore. I have high recognition for him also. And he gave this beautiful idea of technology adoption life cycle. I borrowed this slide also from there. So this is very interesting to see. Like, for example, many of these companies or entrepreneurs cross the chasm. This is not easy. Nokia had to do this for a couple of times whenever they had technological disruption or market failure. And those companies who can handle these chasm from early market to bowling alley and then tornado and main street, and then later it goes to total assimilation. Okay, these two slides, why the mighty fail and how do you do the innovation. This is after you become successful, how do you have to manage, and this is how you start to be in a growth path. These are very good ideas and important ideas that we will revisit all the time, one after another. The old sutra, what is that? What is the main goal of a company, right? Sutra means in Sanskrit is like the formula. So let's get to that idea. What is the main goal of a company? Like, you have been studying business, you have been doing business for many years as a practitioner, or you are an entrepreneur trying to make a company. So what comes to your mind when I ask this question? Pause a while, 1 minute or so, and then come up with the answer to your own. We'll answer the question in a few minutes, like in 1 or 2 minutes down here. Now think about it. I pause a while here. I'm not giving this as a quiz, but I'm giving this as a way of reflection. I want you to reflect on the ideas that I have been talking about. What all of these companies, when they were doing these things, in making these things right, Nokia or Microsoft or even Apple. Apple was nowhere in the business in mobile phone. And then with the iPhone, they changed the whole game. Right. So you have to think how they crossed the chasm when everybody was lagging behind, and then how they became the biggest company on that business. At some point, it was having $1 trillion market value. So the time starts now. Think about it. What is the main goal of a company? Okay. I'm pausing a while you think. Perhaps you have figured out from your experience. Perhaps you have figured out from your readings before in +2 level or schools level or economics class. Anywhere you have got this idea. What is the main goal of a company? Okay, the pause is there now for a while. So now I'm shifting to check your understanding. I'm giving an answer there. I'm not checking here and recording it like whether you got it right or wrong. What I'm saying is like I'm giving my understanding. This is only my understanding. You may have different understanding. So build your own perspective out of my answers. Shareholders value maximization. For very beginners, shareholder is somebody who has invested money or capital into a company. Okay? So we are maximizing shareholders' value, nothing else. That is what I was taught when I was at the university, at the business school. But of course, this is one very good paradigm to build the world. It has started in 70s and then also it is lasted till now, but the capitalism is in crisis. Or actually, capitalism as a principle is not in crisis, but the actors who have been exploiting capitalism for their own self-interest made it looks like a crisis. That's my observation. You may disagree. So these guys, all these pictures borrowed from others also, but this idea is very compelling. All of them have agreed to give a lot of money after they became successful. Through the giving pledge, they have committed they will give half of their worth to the poor. Why it is happening? This is a very good question. Like they become billionaire, but they are not happy with the world they have created. So what would be the solution? By the way, having said these are capitalism's basic principles. Let's not forget that. And I'm here pro-capitalist for all the course, or even in my real thinking. So what would be the solution? Does capitalism have a solution that these people, successful people who become very successful with the capitalistic thinking and the opportunity it creates and the creative destruction it has and the possibilities it has for growth, free competition, innovation and everything. A free society, responsible society. So what would be the solution? Pause a while here again. 15 seconds, 20 seconds, pause. Let's not do a very long pause, otherwise we'll have long video that you would not like to watch. So I expect now you to think very quickly, what would be the solution? I gave you a problem. Maybe it's not a problem, but I gave you this as a context to think through. And then now I'm giving you potential thinking out of your own thinking. We can test my ideas later, but think through your ideas. What would be the solution for this global problem, a global pandemic? We have been talking about other types of pandemic. The pandemic is the unequal society. We have inequality everywhere. Of course, inequality is a problem, but inequity, on the other hand, and not having the equal opportunity by all the masses of the population is another problem. We haven't been able to solve that. Even the Nobel Prize winning laureate in his book, is a French economist, I forgot the name, sorry for that. He actually said this inequality regime. So we haven't been able to solve these inequality regimes throughout the history of mankind. Even the best capitalistic societies are actually faltering on that. This is my take. Of course, not only mine, but many of the others. Some of the latest thinkers since 2017 publication of Oliver's, he's also one of the winners of the Nobel Prize, together with Matt Hallstrom. They have come up with the idea like maybe shareholders value maximization. It's not a new idea, but they are marketing this idea or like trying to convince the world and policymakers think about stakeholders value maximization. Stakeholder is where company has interactions like internal stakeholders inside the company, employees and other unions and everything. And then external means the environment, government, and all politicians, and in society, civil society, everything that you can imagine, partners, suppliers. Everything. So, can we think about this stakeholders value maximization as a solution? Maybe theoretically it looks very compelling, but has it worked in reality? That is a question I'm posing for you to explore, to go further into the thinking. Throughout the discussion in the course, we will be revisiting these two paradigms. Where do you stand, and what is your understanding? Okay, so you can take a side, you can have a debate through course forum, and then have conversation ongoing with each other. Another biggest change in human history happened with Muhammad Yunus. His $27 and a dream book is very famous, and he established Grameen Bank in Bangladesh, and he pioneered a concept called social business model, which is actually kind of stakeholders value maximization similarity concept, but it is not exactly the same. What he's saying is that you can have a business, you can invest in the business, but you cannot get the dividend. You can get your investment back. You don't get the profit afterwards. No dividends for you. The dividend goes to society or the stakeholders who are entrepreneurs, small entrepreneurs, or even who became bigger later. They have the potential to actually reinvest that for social cause and solving the social problem. Making money is one of the goals, but not only making money. And this is the idea which goes sustainable society is possible if you serve people, planet, and profit together. If you serve people and planet, there is a world which can be bearable to be uh, living in this earth. And then also you have planet and profit is actually protected. Then you have viable business, a viable society. And you have profit and people interactions is very good. Then what happens? You have equitable society. And those societies are sustainable societies. This is the idea actually maybe very compelling. Do we see any challenges in implementing the later approach? This is the question I'm asking again. Reflect on that. I don't have proper answers to this yet, but we'll figure out when we finish the course at the end. So in the classroom, in this course, we will be keeping the evaluation criteria. If you really understood the whole thinking behind the course, and then actually you came up with a very good question that hasn't been asked yet in the management, in strategic management, then you are a great students in my criteria. Perhaps your university doesn't agree because you have to pass their exam, their memory test, their SAT exam, their GMAT exam, or their all the standards to get to the university or whatever. But by my understanding, if you really ask a question that nobody has asked yet in understanding, or even if you think through the questions that I have given now in this slide set, perhaps that will be the biggest thing that you can do in this course. Pondering on those questions, trying to go through the Google and Google Scholar, and trying to understand what is there available and reflect on the reality. Look at the companies like Nokia, Microsoft, or anybody else who is successful and who has succeeded over time. Not only one generation, but multiple generations, right? So communication channels are Udemy Course Forum, Facebook or LinkedIn. You can connect me also. We're gonna have discussions there with good respect. We can differ in ideas, but we can do that gentleman way. We can just be very gentle and respect each other and have a difference of opinion. I respect that. But let's not disrespect each other as a person. We can disrespect the ideas, but let's not disrespect each other as a person. So we respect everybody's views, whatever they are. And I'm ready to have ideas that are contrasting to mine, and then have a debate, perhaps. That is the innovation I'm looking for. And the course objectives are like this. You will be able to establish and evaluate mission statement, long-term objective, vision, and short-term plan for the business. You will be able to analyze the external and internal environment and identify SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. Perhaps you know it already, but we'll go deeper into that of the firm and thereby formulate strategies for business. Okay. You will be able to plan pre-implementation and implementation phase, and you will be able to monitor and evaluate implemented strategies. If you achieve this, and if you can apply this in your business, in a current job, or if you are a student and if you can answer all of these questions, perhaps that you qualify in this course. In Unit 1, you will be discussing these ideas. I'll revisit these ideas into each chapter when I get into that. Let's not go into detail, but these are the ideas. These will be in your reading package. So when I attach this into the reading material, so you can reflect that now, but we don't have to go one by one now. This Unit 1 covers mainly the definition part and the process part. And then we go to the company direction in Unit 2. We talk about mission, vision, intent, and so on and so forth. That's the part is very, very interesting. If you understand this, you will understand everything after this. And Unit 3, we will get to the external environment analysis, not inside the company, but outside the company. Okay. And then I will get to next phase. What is that? So we have question bank. So now you have to build a question bank already in this process. When you understand these ideas that we will be discussing, so you scan through the material or like ideas, go through the internet, Google it, try to revisit these ideas, and then see, do you have a question to ask or question to reflect when I'm actually teaching you further. So you have to build a question bank. Think about the assignment of this lecture. Take it very seriously because this will make how much benefit you can take from this course. Okay, build the question bank. Then in Unit 4, we will be talking about internal analysis. There will be major theories that we will go for from Porter to Barney and all thinkers in the management. And then you do your own post assessment of your understanding. You can report this into course forum. It will be a good feedback for me as an instructor, how much you have understood. If you have not understood this part, you will not be able to understand anything further. So when you go through a couple of chapters, like up to chapter 4, it's a good time to sit down and then through the question bank that you have created, you look for how much you have actually understood the basic tenets of strategic management. If you have not understood these ideas by this time, so you have to go back to the videos or go to the internet and then reflect the questions that I have posed in the starting and then also the questions that you have created. If you cannot find the answer, you can use my time in the course forum. Then you get to the Unit 5. There you talk about strategic options and choice techniques. So then we revisit Porter's generic strategies and grand strategies in corporate level and everything. We do from the business level to corporate level. We'll distinguish everything there, right? Then we get to corporate level analysis. Here you have like grand strategies, but the similar concepts from the corporate thinking. It is here already, but here we'll go bigger frameworks. We'll be thinking about Boston Consulting Group, General Electric, 9-cell matrices, and more business level analytical tools. Actually, this is not business. I forgot to mention it. This is corporate level analytical tools. Then we'll talk about grand strategy selection matrix and grand strategy cluster. And then maybe at this point, we'll revisit the case companies like Nokia, Microsoft, Apple, all of these. Most of my examples are from telecommunication industry because I'm biased to that, but that's what I understand the most. So please bear with me. And this is a very volatile industry and very competitive industry to actually look into the whole thinking. Then you go to strategy, unit 5, where you talk about strategic implementation. Planning is not the only thing. You have to make sure that you have implemented also. And this is where most of the organizations fail. And we will spend a lot of time discussing these ideas. Then you will revisit the question bank or build more questions in this phase. And this is the question bank that is you have to actually think all the time. I will give you questions in each chapter also, like when I go through the materials, but you have to think what you have understood or not, or what you need to understand more on these chapters based on those outlines, because these slides, these chapter notes will be in your paper. And then you will have strategic evaluation and control at the end. You have analyzed the environment, internal and external. You have actually built the analysis of the strategy, and you have implemented it, right? So now you have actually control and evaluate. So when your evaluation is done, then you understand the gap, and then you can control the changes. You can build a better organization. And then this will be illustrated at the end with the case, the Nokia case, or normally the telecommunication industry related cases. That might be very interesting for you. Then when you finished everything, the first assessment was for 4 units, but now you will be with all the units. How many units we had? 7 units. So you will be going through 4 plus 3, all 7 units, and then doing the assessment in a full level. The basic questions are whether you have understood shareholders value maximization is the solution, or you have understood stakeholders value maximization is the solution. Or even if you don't have a clear clarity, you understand the reality of the world, that the world is actually has been polarized into these two ideas. Okay. Some people blame stakeholderism as the revival of socialism and communism, but maybe not, because capitalism can have a transformative process. Having said that, we have to explore the plus and minus side of all of these ideas. Okay, so this will be your second assessment. And these are the textbooks I have developed all the materials from, and I thank them a lot. Okay, so you can actually get these books also. You can buy these books, and then you can buy from Amazon.com, and then get reading these whole books also. Phenomenal books, Pierce and Robinson and Mitchell, Keith and Ireland, Hawkinson, all great books. And Dace and Lumpkins, Strategic Management, Thompson and Strickland, Strategic Management, and relevant journal articles and cases. So, how do you evaluate yourself? Like first assessment that we talked about, you give 10 marks for yourself. Second assessment, if you actually understood, you can give 30 marks. And attendance and discipline, like I have no idea how can I check it online. So you can check yourself, your own discipline. You can build your own attendance system. When you actually do this course for a couple of months, you can digest these ideas. You don't have to do it in a hurry because it's on-demand video. You can go back to the video, come back to the video. So you can flip everything and read. Then term paper, class participation, case analysis, all will be 5 marks. So you have to actually write as an assignment, as a course assignment for these 5 marks. If you want to post it into course forum, that will be great. I can read and comment, and then I'll also have a conversation with you. This is the assignment for 5 marks. Select a company of your choice, local, regional, national, or global, doesn't matter. But global companies are very good in illustrating all the concepts that we have discussed here. But not necessarily that is the only way. And then collect primary and secondary data if you can, and write a report based on API style. This is referencing style. You can learn from Google also if you have done a story. And then follow university guidelines for report writing, whichever university you are in. Produce 5-page solid academic report. Or even consulting business, you can write 5-page consulting report analyzing this particular company of interest, where you want to work for in the future, or you are working inside the company, that is your analysis company, and then produce 5-page solution, right? So we have done, we have flipped the classroom, embodying your class. We have design thinking in the case method, we analyze that, and you are self-learning and you are creating your curiosity. And you can go for gamification, social media, free online learning tools, all everywhere. Thank you very much for the outline of the course. Next, I will be getting into introduction chapter. And by the way, before I leave you, I can give you the closing snapshot of what is coming in next lecture. Unit 1. This is what I will be teaching you in the next lecture. Meaning of strategy and strategic management model, characteristics of strategic management, and formality in strategic management. With this note, I thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in next lecture. Don't stop the learning joy. Thank you.